Today we want to talk about macronutrients. So this is the second part of macronutrients one-on-one, and we talk about fats. What, why, which, and how. Um, so just a quick run through. Obviously, macronutrients is basically a way for us to divide food that we eat for different functions, and it's basically the building blocks of the food that we eat. So there is a protein, fats, and carbs. So different food will have different proportion of these macronutrients, and of course it's very important to understand and to learn about this because it can have an impact on the way we feel, the way we look, and the way we perform. So today we talk about fats, which is is one that often gets demonized, and there's lots of misinformation about it. So let's shed some light on it. So definition: dietary fats, and this is actually important. Dietary fat is different from being fat or the fat that you store in the body. Okay, so dietary fats are essential to give your body energy and to support cell growth. So fats together with protein are an essential macronutrient. That means that without protein and without fats, we will basically struggle to live an healthy life. Okay, so your diet, your nutrition should include protein and fats for you to live an healthy life. Okay, carbohydrates are not an essential macronutrient, and we will talk about it when we get into the next chapter of this series. But yeah, for you, for now, just understand that dietary fats, so the fats that you're gonna eat from the food, are essentials, and the main role in the body is for energy, of course, okay, and to support cell growth. And if we go a little bit more in depth, so yeah, fats also help your body absorb some nutrients and produce important hormones too. So going back to the cell growth as well, basically imagine that our cell membrane, so the stuff around our cell, basically the stuff that covers our cells, the body, every cell in the body is made with fats. Okay, so if we don't eat fats, our body cannot produce and cannot have functioning cells, therefore functioning body. Okay, so protein and fats is basically the building blocks of our body, and they also help you absorb the nutrients. Okay, there is in fact fat soluble vitamins, and we also store and absorb nutrients through the fat. So it's very important for just general metabolism and hormones. So probably the most important for us is testosterone, right? Which is the main male sex hormone, the one that gives you strength, the one that makes muscle growth, is composed by fat. So in an absence of fat in your diet, it would be very hard for your body to produce this hormone, which is fundamental for you as a human being. And then of course, if we're looking to get big and strong, testosterone is very important. So also is good to understand and good to know that gram for gram, fats are the most calorific macronutrient. So there is 9 calories per gram in fats, compared to the 4 calories per gram of carbs and protein. So it's a little bit more than the double the energy. So that's why fats is a very strong energy source. And there's also the reason why they get demonized in the nutrition world, because of course they're the most calorific. So if you eat a gram of fat, you get double the calories than if you eat a gram of carbs. So for that reason, it gets a little bit demonized, but it's an essential macronutrient. We cannot live without it. So let's understand, why it's important and where do we find it, which are the best fats around, what food to eat, and then how to eat it. So let me move this up. So fat-rich foods. We can divide these in two: animal sources and plant-based sources. Also, there will be a difference in the kind of fats that the animal source and the plant sources will have. And to be honest, I can go into detail with unsaturated fats, saturated fats, especially because, again, there is this perception that, for example, like a diet high in saturated fat is bad for you, which I do not totally agree. It's all about the balance, okay? We need a balance of both animal sources and plant-based sources because they both offer different kind of fats. So animal sources is saturated and plant-based are unsaturated. So we just need to understand, that they're different and we need both rather than exclude one rather than the other, okay? So this is very important. And so again, animal sources, you have the fat in the meat, which is, if you look at the meat, it's normally the white part in the meat. Then you have fish. Again, there is lean fishes and fatty fishes. Fatty fishes like mackerel, salmon, so the main fatty fish sources. Then of course you got the egg, which only the egg yolk, okay? So the orange part of the egg is where the fat is, while obviously the white is lean. And then you have dairy, milk, and butter. So most dairy, unless they are fat-free, they will contain some sort of fats, okay? Saturated fats. So as dairy, obviously milk, and then butter is basically the pure milk fat, all right? So that's a pure fat rather than milk being a mix and dairy being a mix of protein, carbs, and fats as well. And then we got the plant-based sources, which, the most famous are, of course, avocado, nuts, seeds. Then we have olive oil and other oil like coconut oil, other seeds oil like canola oil that people use for frying and stuff like that. So again, plant-based will offer mainly unsaturated fats, which they're classified as a little bit the healthy one, but in reality we need a combination of both, okay? Cool. And also when we talk about protein, I explain how basically normally animal sources will come with fats. So normally, animal sources is fats and protein together. When it comes down to plant-based, is pretty similar, but you get the fats coming with carbs. For example, in the nuts, in the avocado, you get both the carbs and the fats together. Just so you understand, the differences between plant-based and animal-based. So, one thing that I believe is important is understanding, where these fats are hidden now, because now I showed you where you find fats, and again, fats are essential, so we are gonna eat them in the diet. We need to make sure that we eat enough and a good amount. Obviously, not too much, as everything, but we need to eat fats in our diet to be healthy. Now, we also saw that they are very calorific. So I want you to eat fats, but I don't want you to eat too much, all right, or too many. So you need to know where they're hidden, because look, now we're gonna go through it. It's very easy to get fats, and we don't know about, right? So be aware of hidden fats. So of course, animal sources will often come with fats. Okay, so when we eat a steak, when we eat a burger, it would, the fat content will be very high. So we are getting the protein, but we're also getting the fats, which if that's what we want and we take it in account, then it's fine. But if we think, oh, I'm eating protein, but in reality you're eating protein and fats, then you might get in a lot of calories or more than you want. So that might not be ideal. Okay. And then, as I said, plant-based sources of fat, on the other side, are also very easy to overconsume. For example, like, okay, I don't want to be extreme, but let's say nuts. When you snack on nuts, it's very easy to get a lot of calories, a lot of fat, with a very little effort. So it can be great if you need those calories, but if perhaps you're trying to lose fat, or you're trying to reduce the calories in your diet, it's very easy to eat, a handful of nuts and getting lots of calories, because again, it's a very calorific macronutrient, and it's very easy to eat on it, right? Like, for example, oil. You can have a salad and virtually very low calories, but then you can put loads of olive oil on it and it becomes loads of calories. Now this is something that we need to take into account, and for example, salad dressings, they're probably one of the most hidden fat that we can find. Sometimes there is more calories in the dressing than in the whole salad, like very easily, and a lot more, like probably the double or triple more. So that's something to be aware of. Packaged processed food are often pumped with fat to make it tasty. Okay, so I can go to my cupboard and grab something, which hopefully it will be hard to find. But the reality is, to make tasty food, they pump loads of fat into it. So even, a biscuit that we think is made from, oh my God, the name is slipping out of my head. With flour, right? Flour, water, and, that's how you make biscuits. No, they will pump lots of fats to make it tasty, okay? So processed food very often is pumped with with fats, unless of course is a low fat version, which probably would be pumped with sugar. Okay, so that's the trick of marketing in the food industry. But anyway, that's another story. And then same concept is applied when we buy food outside. If you're buying a salad from Pret, or if you're buying a sandwich, there's a very high chance. And actually, even restaurants, when you go out for a restaurant, and I got lots of friends that are that are chefs, and they use butter like there is no tomorrow. Like literally they splash stuff into butter. Okay, so when restaurants live to use butter and oil. Why? Because it makes the food taste good. Okay, so they want to sell more, they want you to like the food, they put lots of oil, lots of butter, and in return you get a very high calorie meal. Okay, so when you eat out, it's very hard to avoid. So just be aware of it, and if you can, if you have to choose between something that perhaps is fried and something that is grilled, the grilled will always have more protein and less fat compared to the fried version. Okay, so just be smart when you make these choices. So, how much fat do you need? As I said, it's essential. So we need fats in our diet. And so let's have a look. How much do you need? Now, we need between 25 to 45% of total calories. Now we're gonna have a look at an example. So basically 25% is the minimum amount that you want to keep in your diet. So even if you're going like low fat, you want to make sure that you have at least 25%, again, because it's an essential macronutrient, so we need it. And 45% is is the maximum that you will go to, because you want to leave space for protein and carbs as well in the total calories, right? Plus 45% of total calories of fat would be a lot. Okay, so we need to have this kind of benchmarks. So for example, Matteo, 80 kilo, eats 2,500 calories per day. So the 25%, so the minimum level that we need of 2,500 is 625 calories. I divide that by 9, which is the calories per gram. And so I have 70 grams of fats per day. Okay, so that's the minimum that Matteo, 80 kilo, eating 2,500 calories per day. 70 grams is the minimum of fats that I want to eat per day. If I was going for the higher threshold, so 2,500 calories, 45%, it would be 1,125 calories divided by 9. That's 125 grams per day. So that's the higher threshold. So, this is up to obviously me as a coach, and if you're designing the diet for yourself, it's up to you to decide. Obviously, the more fats you will include in your diet, the less space for carbs, because again, protein, you will set up, a standard amount, and then, you play the rest with fats and carbs. So, it depends, what do you feel is best for you. Some people function better with fats, with a higher fat diet rather than a high carb diet. This is highly subjective, so highly personal, the preference. But yeah, just keep in mind, between 70 and 125 grams per day, that's the level, that's the amount we're looking at for these specific stats. So let's get some takeaways from this, and some practical applications. So my suggestion and my preference when it comes down to especially selecting the protein sources is always to go for the lean. So not always, most of the times choose lean protein sources when possible. Why? Because it makes it easy to track. Okay, so let's say I wanna get my protein. I'd rather get a lean protein source like chicken breast or lean minced beef, because I know that I will get mostly protein, so I can track that, and then I will add the fats. So I will look at avocado, nuts, or oils to add the fats to it. So I can basically I look at food like building blocks. So I eat the chicken for the protein, I eat the nuts for the fats, and then I eat the rice for the carbs. So each food gives me a different macronutrient. So I want to go for the purest form of it, right? So when possible, try to choose lean protein sources. That doesn't mean that you cannot eat, fatty fish like salmon, which is very good, or steaks. It's just when you do, you need to take into account that it's gonna have fat into it, so it's gonna have higher calorie, and so we're gonna get a little bit into this later. So something important to understand is the following: eat fats away from training. So why is this important? If I'm having a meal before the workout, um, I want these, this energy, these nutrients that I'm eating to go into my bloodstream to be available as fast as possible. Now, something that I didn't say is that fats, they, they slow down your metabolism, they slow down your digestion. Sorry, no metabolism, digestion. So when you eat fat with a meal, because it's very high calorie, your body will take a little bit longer to break it down. So we slow down your digestion. Now, if I'm about to train, even let's say, I am a meal 2 hours, 90 minutes before training, and I'm eating, ideally I will be eating some protein and some carbs because I need the protein for the, to be ready to repair my muscles during the workout and after the workout, and the carbs for the energy. Now, if I'm eating fats with this meal, it will slow down the digestion. So, which, is not great if you're about to train. You don't really want to train, with still digesting, right? After training, is pretty much the same concept. We want to make sure that, the meal that we have is going to be quick to repair the muscles and give us the energy for recovery. So if we eat fats in that meal, it's going to slow it down, which is not ideal. So before and after training, we want to minimize the amount of fats that we eat. But in the meals away from training, then that's the best time to eat fats, okay? Why? Because fats, they're a great energy source, and they actually, so apart from the training, which is the physical, we need carbs to fuel the physical training, right? The body moving, that the carbs are the best fuel for that, the best fuel for the muscles, all right? Fats, on the other side, are a little bit better fuel for the brain. So if we run on fats, like for example, if I wake up in the morning and the best breakfast to have will be, some protein with some fats, okay? That's why, for example, eggs are a great breakfast because they give you the protein, they give you the fats. So what's gonna happen? You're gonna feel full because the fats is gonna keep you full for longer with the protein, which they also make you feel full for longer. And they give you this energy, which fats, imagine a fire, okay? So fats is like a piece of paper, while, carbs is like a piece of paper, and fats is like a wooden log. So when you look at the fire and there is a piece of paper, you light with the fire and it goes like, but then it dies down, no more fire, okay? So very strong, but it doesn't last long, okay? So that's carbs, especially sugar, obviously, if we take it to the extreme. And that's not ideal for the mental aspect of energy, because what's gonna happen? We have this bump in energy, and then we feel low, and sometimes people will snack because of that, because they're feeling low in energy, so they need to eat more. While fats is like a wooden log, so it's a very it's a strong fire, but it's there and it takes time to burn, okay? It's a slow burning fat. It's give you energy, but it's there and it takes time. So for mental focus, fats are better. So ideally, in the times away from training, fats and protein is the best meal combination to have. And then what I say there at the bottom is avoid high fat and high carbs meal. And if you look at this, it's very interesting, because normally the kind of the best treat food that we know, like cakes, or French fries, or chips, they are basically carbs from potatoes, fried, so with fats. So normally the combination of carbs and fats, it makes like probably very tasty food, right? But it's not the best. Why? Because basically you get this very like, you got like an energy bomb, okay? And also the carbs will spike your insulin up, which will make the metabolism of the fats harder. Basically, it will put the fats that you're eating straight into the bloodstream. So, but it's not something that you want very often, okay? So obviously, I treat, once a week here and then, it's fine. But, try to avoid to have high fat and high carbs meals. So, even if that means, a bunch of rice with a bunch of avocado, it's not the best to combine too much fat with too much carbs. And that's it. This is my macronutrient one-on-one on fats. I hope it was useful. I tried to give as much information as possible, and some practical applications as well. Yeah, I think this is a good one. What I would say is, as a practical, to add to practical application, something else is that when I look at a meal plan or a nutritional plan, I would try to have obviously a good combination of fats and animal fats and plant-based fats. So normally what I would do most of the times, I will go for lean protein source, and then I will add the plant-based fat. So for example, chicken breast with avocado. But also sometimes I will go for salmon, steak, like animal sources. So just have that balance throughout the week, and times where you combine lean protein sources with plant-based fats, and sometimes where you go, I'm gonna have a steak, and I know it's gonna have protein, it's also gonna have fat, and when you do that, obviously, I'm not gonna have a steak with an avocado. Actually, I'm not likely to do so. Can do it, there's nothing wrong, but what I'm saying is, I rather, if I choose one protein source, I'll stick to that. I tend not to mix two together, especially animal fat and plant-based fat. So yeah, that was just a last practical application tip. And again, I hope you enjoyed it. And obviously now we're gonna get into some questions.